Currently, I am 29 years old, almost at the big 3-0. I'm feeling old, my body is starting to ache, and I started playing drums when I was 15. I started playing drums, I was actually in choir class in high school. I believe I was in grade 9. I only actually took choir because my parents made me, and I saw this kid, he had 2 pencils, and my teacher always played a CD before. He made us listen to music. He thought that was important. I guess it is. Very important. And I saw this kid, he was air drumming to a song with 2 pencils, and he was dead on. Dead on. I forget the kid's name. I don't even know if he played drums. But I looked at him and I said, that looks like so much fun. And I loved how he just like hit all the craft cymbals and everything. So I went home and told my parents I want to play the drums. And I think around 3 to 6 months later, my parents brought my first drum set home, which is actually, I still have it, I bought it. It was a drum set that my grandparents bought for my mom and my dad, or not my mom and my dad, my grandparents bought for my aunt and my dad when, in like the early 1970s, something like that. So the drum set is like super old, but I ended up buying it off my grandparents, out of the family, and so now I have it and it's on display in my house. Yeah, there's lots of other people in my family that are musical. My mom plays a little bit of piano. She doesn't really keep with it nowadays. My sister plays piano and she sings, she's a songwriter. We once had a band called Ada, A-I-D-A. And my brother, Jamie, who's actually probably gonna be one of the ones editing this video, he plays bass and he's involved in other band stuff as well. But yeah, my family is very musical. And you know, not only my direct family, but my indirect family. Like I have 3 brothers and a sister, and so not all of them play music, but my extended family is extremely musical. The music I listen to most is music like Dave Matthews Band, Incubus, something that has definitely a rock background, but has a lot of funk stuff in there and a lot of different kind of stuff. You know, Odd Times, much more complex with the parts and the musicianship. It's not like, you know, stock like a 50 Cent song or, you know, any of that. I don't mind rap. It has a great beat, but I like something with a little bit more groove and a little bit more technical stuff in there. My main drumming inspiration is Dave Weckl. Now, Dave Weckl was actually the first drummer I ever saw play live in a clinic, and 2 of my first teachers actually brought me to see this guy, and they got there really early, and it wasn't really well advertised, so we got to sit right in the front row because there wasn't like a huge crowd, and Dave Weckl absolutely shredded, and it was unbelievable. From there, it's like obviously the Thomas Lang, Jojo Mayer, all those kind of new guys that came out of the woodwork are just phenomenal and beasts on the drums. Well, right now I currently play a DW Exotic Mappa Burl drum set. I have a 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18-inch toms, 22-inch bass drum, and a 26-inch bass drum, and then 2 14-inch snares with different depths. And the kit's unreal. Anything DW Exotic sounds unbelievable. So. The type of cymbals I currently use are Pisces, and they're mainly the signature line, other than a 19-inch Dark Energy crash and then 15-inch Dark Energy hi-hats. The Pisces cymbals are amazing. They sound like cymbals should sound. They sound better than electronic drum cymbals. And, you know, electronic drum cymbals are made to sound perfect, and these cymbals, in my opinion, sound way better. The sticks I'm using right now are Vic Firth Extreme 5/8s. I actually have 3 different types of pedals that I'm using right now. I have a set of Axis longboards, which I like, but I don't play that often. So the main pedals that I actually use are the Tama Iron Cobras and Gibraltar Intruder direct drives. And my Tama Iron Cobras, I just kind of got this retrofit going to make them into direct drive pedals. So I'm a direct drive pedal guy, and so I only have 2 sets of direct drive pedals. 3 sets, but one of them I don't even really use. My dream drum set is the one I have right now on display behind me, which is, it's always been a dream. From back in the days when I was on tour, I had a Yamaha 30th anniversary edition, which was a gorgeous drum set with had like a fade, a sparkle fade on it. But every time I saw the DW exotic kits, I've been blown away. The finishes, the woods, everything was unbelievable. I mean, above this, I would go for something with a little bit more rarity. And that's like, I would get into the timeless timbers and that sort of thing, which would be amazing, but it's not something that I absolutely need. This is it for me. I'm planning on keeping this drum set forever. Currently, I don't actually have any regular musical projects in the works. There's a few bands that I've been a part of that gig occasionally from time to time. But primarily I'm focusing on the online instruction right now, working with students. We do a live show every week, and you know, I have tons of email to get through. I'm just very, very saturated online and helping students learn to play a drum. So musical projects isn't that much. I love to get them to the studio. There's a studio I work with locally called the Sound Suite, a guy named Steve Clausen. He still calls me. Occasionally I've worked with a guy at Room Board Studios locally here, but nothing too huge or anything like that. Well, we're just actually wrapping the Bass Drum Secrets 2.0, and this project has been unbelievable. Definitely one of the best things we've ever done. A multi-artist instructional product is just something that you don't hear a lot of. Like you have the Modern Drummer Festival DVDs, which are great, but those are kind of designed for the crowd there and everything, so you don't kind of really get to break things down with all the slow motion and stuff. So this project has just been huge. I'm also working on a project with a guy named Kobus out of South Africa. I don't even really know how to pronounce the last name. Can't do it any justice, so I'm not going to try. That project is going to be insane. The guy plays drums completely by ear and doesn't even really know how to read sheet music, and it's just kind of, you know, hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm very linear and technical thinking. I like the idea of being able to read sheet music, and so I get to work with him and help produce this project that we're going to be putting out with him later on. Then there's drumlessons.com. Drumlessons.com is going to be a massive online resource for drummers. Not only to improve your drumming, but just to learn about drummers in general and just to be inspired. So that's kind of going to be huge. And then, I mean, there's the anchor and the flagship of Railroad Media, and that's freedrumlessons.com. The community is unbelievable. And I constantly integrate myself and work with the drummers in there. And I mean, they teach me just as much as I give back, so I'm extremely grateful for them. Some bands I played in the past were, well, I guess I'll kind of go back to my high school days. I started playing drums when I was 15. When I was almost 17, or no, I should say, when I was 16 and a half, I should say, almost 17, I got the call to play with a band called Doxa, which is like a Christian worship group, and weekly we did this worship thing. So I got to play a lot with Doxa. We traveled to Mexico, traveled all over BC, and we did a few different tour dates. But primarily we played in the community weekly, and it was amazing. It gave me a huge amount of experience that I'm super grateful for. After that, I went on tour with a guy named Riley Armstrong, and we played in churches and clubs all across the US. It was a great experience, and it made me realize that's not something I want to do at all. It was fun, but it was too much waiting. It was hurry up and wait every day. And then after that, I played with a band called Modesto. We went for a year and a half or whatever. We put out a CD, and it's good. It was fun, but it wasn't really a style of music that really suited me. It was kind of too poppy, too generic, too much like play, lock in the kick here and do all this kind of stuff, which is good for drummers, but it kind of really wasn't my style. And then all kind of during this is happening, I played with a group called Blue Rain, and I'm still with Blue Rain. It's kind of like the band that we play like a couple of gigs every year, but never really goes anywhere, and we're all kind of cool with that. Just a really, really good hang, fun group of guys. I love to play with them. And so, other than that, I do a few studio things and a few pickup gigs here and there, but that's about it. Currently, in my drumming, I've been inspired lately by listening to a lot of John Mayer and John Mayer drummer Steve Jordan. And Steve Jordan just has this unbelievable feel. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what he has that I don't, but the same beat played by him and me, he sounds 100 times better. So I'm really just trying to focus on groove, time, locking it in with a click, but not being too rigid and stuff like that. Really just trying to, not really developing speed. Speed for me is going to come in time. If I just continue drumming, it's going to come in time no matter what. And so for me, I just really want to focus in on groove and making the band and the other musicians that I play with just go like, wow, this song, this track feels unbelievable. And the drums are unbelievable. And so I'm really working towards it because I know it doesn't happen every time I play with someone. Every time I play with someone, they're like, oh yeah, that was good. Even some studio things, they're like, yeah, that was good. But I want to really work on absolutely flooring people and blowing them away, not by playing fast or not by playing extremely technical, but by serving the song and making the groove feel unbelievable. Well, musically, I've said it before, the touring lifestyle is not for me. So I really absolutely love doing what I'm doing now. I love, locally I get to play a lot here, and then I like to work with people online. So basically my musical goals, I guess, kind of ties into what we're doing online, and that is to, really help other drummers learn to play the drums, whether it's the bass drum or hand technique, rudiments, or whatever. That's kind of my musical goal. And it isn't technical, even though some people might say it is. It's not technical. It's definitely musical. I'm teaching people to play music, and I think that's a skill that no one can really take away. You can't. Once someone's learned music, you can't take it away. Even if you put a guy in prison, he can still tap with his fingers and stuff like that. So it's a huge thing to teach someone, and I'm extremely honored. I really wish I had the time to practice polyrhythms. I think polyrhythms are so intriguing, and they kind of screw with people's minds when they're listening to them, because they try and groove to it. As soon as someone hears a drum beat, they'll try and tap along or something like that. And when you play polyrhythms, it just messes them up. And I think that's hilarious, and I think it's just a fun little achievement to accomplish, and something that I've never really got into before. So. Because you don't hear it in a lot of music. You don't hear drummers playing polyrhythms in a pop song. Just never really need it. And so it's never something I've had the opportunity to actually work on. It is extremely important for a drummer to have good bass drum technique. But it's not about having a good technique developed solely for speed. It's about having an accurate bass drum technique and something that's controlled and something that's dynamic. Those are kind of the most important things. If you just have something that's fast, but you can't play it quietly, there's some musical situations where it's going to be absolutely useless. You need to have a very, very strong bass drum technique, but it's not all about speed. So that's kind of what I'm saying, but it is ultra, ultra important. If you play a drum set, a modern drum set nowadays, your bass drum technique is as important as your hand technique. And that's something that's extremely overlooked. If you just want to play snare drum in an orchestra or something, yeah, you know what, your bass drum technique isn't important. You're just playing snare drum, so you just need to work on hand technique. But if you're playing a modern drum set with a bass drum pedal and a hi-hat pedal or a double bass drum pedal, your bass drum technique is as important as your hand technique. So step it up. Most people have been slacking. My biggest struggle with bass drum technique has actually been developing speed with a single stroke roll. And it's because, especially when I first started, I just usually worked on double stroke rolls. And I never really got around to practicing single stroke roll and haven't had a huge need for it. Sometimes nowadays people are asking, how do I develop fast singles? And that's why I go to people like Dave Atkinson and Sean Lang, just because I feel that they're far more along in their development of single stroke roll. But for me, I think that's one of my biggest struggles, and I think I'm with a lot of other people on that one. The easiest thing for me to actually play on the bass drum has been double strokes. And my teacher once gave me a beat, and I was really intrigued by the beat. It was just the 16th note triplet partials in between the 8th notes on the hi-hat. And I went home, and in 1 week, I had gotten it really fast. And it was just took a week, and then I've had it my whole life. From there, it's just been applying it on both feet and stuff like that. But that's definitely been the easiest, is the whole heel toe thing. If you're a drummer struggling with bass drum technique, the first thing and the one tip I'm going to give you is don't worry about speed. If you think that speed is a huge issue and that's what's really hindering your drumming, it's not. That's not speed. It's other things. So the first thing is, the one tip is, don't worry about speed. Speed will come in time. The ultimate technique for achieving quick double strokes is the heel toe technique. There are other people who use the slide technique, but it's not something I've never really gotten. So I kind of always, just went straight for the heel toe. And I found that I can get even strokes, I can play extremely fast, and it just seems more controlled for me. So. For fast double pedal single strokes, I think the ultimate technique is the swivel. You lack power when you do the swivel, and this is just from what I've seen, because I haven't achieved huge speeds with single stroke roll. But from what I've seen from the guys who've really taken it up, like George Calais and even Sean Lang, and Dave has even done a ton of stuff, and that's when they start using swivel. If I had to take lessons from one drummer and only one drummer, I would probably choose a guy like Dom Famularo, who is just extremely passionate, extremely energetic, and someone who I feel could constantly motivate me. He also possesses like a wide range of skills in multiple styles. If I was stranded on a desert island with a drum set and I had to bring one crash cymbal, I would bring my 17-inch Feisty signature full crash. If I had to choose between just having one private teacher or taking lessons from multiple teachers online, I would definitely go with the online version. And I'm not just saying that because I do online lessons, although no matter what I say, I'm going to be extremely biased and you're going to think I'm biased, but I really think online lessons have really taken it up a notch. It used to be that you'd go to a private teacher so they could be there and they could critique your technique. Well, now it's so easy to share pictures, it's so easy to share video. On Skype, you can have Skype lessons, we can do live lessons where you guys ask questions and stuff like that. So for me, it's like the possibilities for online lessons are just huge, especially with multiple instructors. Instead of learning from one guy, I can learn from 100. My favorite color is clear. My favorite movie, I really like the Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, and Bourne Ultimatum. if I'm allowed to say 3, I think I would be all right to say 3 since past interviewees have said 3. My biggest pet peeve is when people leave the lights on, when they're not even using that room, and the lights are just on there for no one. The thing I like to drink most days is a wine from the Okanagan called Freudian Sip. And it's just a white wine. I know it might be a little bit girly and cheesy, but it tastes really good, and it's so good, it complements food so nicely. So that's what I like to drink. For my biggest non-drumming inspiration, non-drumming related, and not even non-musical, is my dad. My dad is a huge inspiration, and yeah, someone that he seems to know everything about everything, even though he doesn't do everything. So, huge inspiration, very, very wise. Honestly, I haven't done anything really crazy, not that I can remember. I used to start lots of fires and stuff, but we never really, I tried to burn a place down one time, like a whole barn, but the fire never took, so we never actually burned it down. Had I done that, I would have been in big, big trouble. But I mean, then when you're a kid, you always do other crazy things. You know, fire was probably my biggest vice when I was a young child. There are some people I'd like to thank for this package, and the first one is being the other artists, and that's Dave Atkinson and Sean Lang. The original Bass Drum Secrets package was just done by me, and it wasn't ever complete. You know, it just included something with the heel-toe technique, teaching how to do a quick double, which it's been extremely popular, and a lot of people have used it and been successful with it. But I think a big thing about this package is now it's complete. We have all these different aspects of bass drum technique all just jammed into one thing. I think it's just unbelievable what we've done, and it's something that it's not out there. And to do something that no one else has done, in my opinion, is crazy, because there's like 6 billion people in this world. So it's insane. Next person I'd like to thank, or next people I should say, is the team behind putting this all together and getting it out. There's my brother Jamie, and then there's on audio Victor making the drum sound badass, and yeah, Jamie making everything look unbelievable. Those two guys work tirelessly behind the scenes. No one ever sees them on camera. No one ever knows exactly what they do, and they do a phenomenal job. And none of this would even get out if it wasn't for them. Next person I think is my wife, Shanna, who by the time you're probably watching this video, she's pregnant right now, but by the time you watch this video, we're probably going to have our first child. And so Shanna's unbelievable at supporting me and letting me kind of do the crazy things I want to do in business and take the insane risks and stuff like that. It's not always easy. I'm not always home for dinner, but she's an amazing wife. And then finally, I just want to thank my family and my friends. You guys have all been so supportive, and a huge reason why I'm even able to sit in front of this camera and do this. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for your support, buying all those crappy albums and coming to all those crappy shows, I wouldn't be here today, and when I wouldn't be doing what I was doing. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next project.